United States has been engaged in for 46 years, since the Iranians, the mullahs took over in 1979? Or is this the beginning of another more dangerous, more violent, more active phase in the U.S.-Iran conflict? But whatever it is, this will be the moment that, at least from the facts that we have right now, Donald Trump will be judged by.
Yeah, major questions tonight, and what happens tomorrow. John Carl, thank you. Let's go back to Ian Panel in Tel Aviv. And Ian, we've already seen prior to tonight, some of these attacks, some of the missile attacks on Israel have been getting through. A lower percentage, but we've seen some of the damages on hospitals and residential buildings there. It's been quiet so far tonight, but what are Israelis expecting in the coming days?
Check that, Timmy. Yeah, I think the immediate reaction will be people will be fearing the worst. Interestingly, the Home Front Command has just issued new guidelines to people, basically activating the highest state of preparedness. In other words, nobody should go to work, all businesses will be closed, nobody goes to school, and everybody should stay close to shelters. In other words, everybody is bracing for an Iranian response. We certainly heard all the various lurid threats that we have been issued by the Ayatollah, by the Iranian foreign minister and others over the last few days about what would happen if America joined this war, which has now done. President Trump and others may be hoping that this is a one-off action and that will draw a line under events. Well, as the military gets to say, the enemy gets a vote in that, and we have to wait and see what the official Iranian response will be. We have heard from the Iranians that at least 2 of those facilities that were struck tonight by U.S. resources had been evacuated beforehand. Yoav Gallant, who of course is a former Israeli defense minister, posted just in the last few minutes, President Trump took a bold decision. The world is now a safer place. But we're also hearing already threats from one of the Iranian proxies. This is the Houthis, again, on X. Hazam al-Assad, who's a member of the political bureau of the Houthi movement, saying Washington must bear the consequences of this strike. Steve Ganyard, who you were speaking to earlier, got it absolutely right in terms of the sense that Iran has no major friends in the region. It has commercial allies, ones that it has supplied weapons to, in particular Russia and China, but none of which are ready to come to Iran's aid. The proxies, all of these proxy groups have been severely downgraded, primarily through Israeli military action over the last few months. Hamas, of course, Hezbollah in particular, the decapitation of Hezbollah.
Welcome back, y'all. Let me know that you can hear me. Let me know that you can hear me. Child, this is not what I was expecting to come back to. I wasn't expecting to come back at all, let alone for this shit, right? What the fuck? Okay, hold on. Y'all, first of all, hit the like button. Shout out to y'all for coming back. Thank you for confirming that you can hear me. I got help today, child, because, child, this is not my thing at all. But I know this ain't good. I don't think it's good. Y'all let me know what you think in the chat. But JP.
What up?
You're on. Everybody is here. You saw what was being played. I'm gonna go over to what Donald Trump just said, but any thoughts before I move over to that?
Yeah, basically what we kind of seeing right now is Trump pretty much is being Ronald Reagan 2.0. If you'll kind of see, this all started basically where Reagan back in the 80s wanted to have what's called a strategic defense initiative. That basically was where Reagan wanted to put lasers and weapons in space. And as a result of him wanting to do so, at the time, they did not possess or quote unquote have the technology to be able to do so. Now Trump pretty much is basically trying to finish the job. Let's see, where should I go with this first? Most of what goes on in America is a lot of what you'll see with these guys is this is all about arms deals
Mm.
and just being able to take over real estate in other places for dominance. It's a game of thrones. It's a game of chess. So a lot of times when you see them beef with other countries here in the U.S. or just end up starting some crap with them, they are doing it based on the fact that they're trying to get arms deals with a lot of independent contractors that want to make them a lot of money, and also to be able to take over and dominate that land. So that's really pretty much been the not defining reason of why the dollar is the dollar, is because the US always has dominated in defense. So when it comes to weapons, we're like always going to be number one, and we can pretty much bully people and do what we want when it comes to going to these nations and kind of taking over.
So it's interesting you should say that, because I was listening to someone earlier today about if this should happen, and they're basically saying that the United States likes being in war because it makes a lot of money.
It always does, because you got to think about it. If I go into a country and I dilapidate them, it's just like here. Even if I basically go into a impoverished neighborhood or an impoverished area and I tear it up, and or just let the citizens or the people in that area tear it up, what's going to be the biggest way to be able to make money? You get contractors in there to rebuild it. So as a result of them rebuilding it, most of the time they gentrify their area, or they make their area into luxury or high end, and they take it over. So that's what they do in other countries as well. So when they bomb these places and then they go in and then they do the things that they do as far as making sure that they're dilapidated. This is amazing. Just like what they did with look at what happened with Ukraine, for example. It's kind of the same thing. Awesome. So all of it is designed to be able to dilapidate places so they can build it back up the way that they want. I mean, you even seen Trump even specify and state that the number one thing he wanted to do is make sure that he got a hotel over on the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, I just heard somebody say that. Yeah, it's like, wait, what?
Absolutely. It's all designed, like I said, to be able to have these guys go in and make sure that they can dilapidate this place so they'll be able to build it back up the way that they want. I mean, it's like even with medications and all of this stuff that goes on in healthcare. They give you the disease so they can be able to provide you with the cure. They create chaos so they'll be able to have you come to them for the solution. So this is kind of the dynamic of what they're doing as far as how they're going in. And they told Iran, hey, here's a deal for you. You can't have a nuclear weapon. And because you can't have this nuclear weapon, this is going to allow us to feel like that we're safe. But it's really far from that.
Wow.
Really, this is like a space race if you really want to look at the dynamics of how this is all coming into play. Because even the sanctions that they slapped on Iran back in 2019 regarding their space program, because of the fact that they had nuclear arms that they were going to send into space, Iran was. The United States had to make sure that they did something to ensure that they not only did not have enough funding to be able to do so, but ensure that what they have over in Iran to be able to intercept missiles and so forth is going to be something that they have here in the USA as well. And also the US needs to be able to control space. So therefore, no other entity or country around the planet can be able to do so.
All right, let me read this super chat from Ira Gordon. She said, huge misstep. Once they bomb, one of the bombs they used cannot penetrate deep enough. 2, wasn't nobody even at Fort Dow. 3, Iran says they are closing the Straits of Hormuz immediately. Gas about to be crazy. Child, that's all foreign to me. What does that mean?
Well, I guess they're saying the oil supply is going to go in because it's limited by the way that we're bombing Iran, that they can drive the price of oil up because of it.
It's already going up. I just got oil.
That's always a trick that they utilize all the time to be able to drive it up. Is just that they say things as far as us getting into it with these, Middle Eastern countries, that now all of a sudden the oil reserves that we have to use here are going to drive the price of oil up because we have to use our own commodities. So it's always been that trick. They did that with the 70 energies crisis as well.
I remember that.
But,
I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so all of this is driven towards, like I said, that it started back in the 80s with Ronald Reagan to be able to have the defense in space. So you'll see that if you'll go back and look at what happened with the Iran-Contra deal, where basically they were mad at Reagan because of the fact that they saw that his administration was allowing hostages over in Iran to be traded for, weapons and arms over there. So a lot of people around the country did not like that because of the fact that we were supplying these people with weapons, yet they were supposed to be our enemy. So we were doing it as a result of it. So that was a big scandal within the 80s as far as Reagan said, hey, I had nothing to do with that. Later to admit he saw that he was a part of it, but he never remembered that he did such a thing, as if he had Alzheimer's. And that's why
he did have Alzheimer's.
Right. That's what they led into the story of Alzheimer's for, is because of that. They wanted to make an excuse to be able to say, okay, he wasn't in his right mind.
Well, let me read his post, because he's saying it's a success, but Trump says everything is a success. So he wrote, we have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordow. Excuse me. All planes are safely on their way home. Okay, I'm gonna just drop this bomb off. I'm going home. Congratulations. Hold on. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. What the fuck? Thank you for your attention to this matter. Go ahead.
Well, I laugh because of the fact that the 3 nuclear sites that they bombed, right? We all know that, well, I should say, I don't know everybody's knowledge base on this, but Iran has a very high level and abundance of uranium. Uranium is one of the main minerals that's utilized to be able to make nuclear power. So as a result, basically what you'll see in this instance is that they're trying to destroy the supply of uranium that is needed to be able to produce a lot of what's they need to be able to not only get in space, but even to be able to make the weapons necessary to be in space. What you saw in the 80s with Ronald Reagan was doing what he was doing. Basically, he was also making side deals with Mikhail Gorbachev when it came to him being able to get a lot of the space surveillance that the Soviets had. Like when they were talking about how the Soviets sent Sputnik up to the moon and everything, besides the United States being able to send the Apollo up and then be able to do their space mission. Well, the Soviets were the first to be able to understand what it meant to be able to kick satellites up to space. So in order for Ronald Reagan to really get the technology that he needed to be able to get all of this stuff into space, he was basically, rocking with Gorbachev, making him look like that he was his friend. But really, that wasn't even the case. He was just doing that just to be able to sit and get the Soviet technology necessary to get all of this stuff into space like he's wanted to. Have you ever seen the movie Real Genius?
No, I don't watch nothing like this. I wouldn't watch anything that has to do with war or anything like that. It's not my thing at all.
Well, no, Real Genius is a movie back in 1985. It was starring Val Kilmer, or young Val Kilmer.
I would never watch a Val Kilmer movie, no.
Well, the premises of the movie is that the proteges, or the students that went to this specific school in California, they were there to be able to work on specified scientific projects in defense weaponry for the CIA and also the U.S. government, other entities of the U.S. government. Well, Val Kilmer's character and a couple other of the main characters in the movie were basically designing a laser that can shoot down from space onto land and used as a weapon for the military. So that, knowing that they were kind of given this preview or premise back then, It's kind of the prelude of what they're doing now as far as how they want to go ahead and, you know, rule the world in a lot of ways. Look at what Trump talks about when he talked about the Golden Dome. The Golden Dome is exactly what I was talking about with SDI with Ronald Reagan. He wants to try to finish the job of what Reagan was trying to put into place. So this is what you're starting to see is where they're having these specific little pods, I guess you could say, that will intercept missiles that come towards our borders and then, you know, shoot them down and so forth, or just destroy them. And they're also utilizing lasers and other weaponry from space. U.S. wants to be the one that leads that, not anybody else. So, like I said, Iran was the one that was going to lead in that. But this is why the U.S. is killing their supply when it comes to nuclear weaponry.
All right. Let me acknowledge Anthony, a member for 6 months. Appreciate you. He said, as a person who was deployed to Iraq in 2004, 2005. In 2006, 2007, I totally agree with what you are saying. He's talking to you. Clearly, he's talking to you. Just FYI. And shout out to Live from New York. He said Trump popped Iran in the pinky toe. You crazy, child. Let me go over here to Anderson Cooper and let him talk for a second. See what he has to say.
I'm Anderson Cooper in Tel Aviv. You've heard the breaking news. I want to put the statement by President Trump up on the screen. He says in a Truth Social post, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safe on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter." I'm here with CNN's Jeremy Diamond in Tel Aviv. Obviously, Jeremy, this is something that we have been waiting for and watching for. We got the word earlier today that B-2s were in the air. There has been some reporting they're heading toward Guam. We don't know exactly what aircraft were used in this. They said a full payload of bombs, which there had been a lot of discussion about how many of these bunker buster bombs would be required to really damage Fordo facility. Unclear if just one would be enough. He says bombs. It sounds like there were multiple strikes.
Yeah, and you know, even as he is talking about multiple nuclear sites in Iran, the one to key in on is the Fordo facility, because we know that that is the facility that is buried deep beneath a mountain in Iran. Would require those B-2 bombers and would require those 30,000 pound bombs to be dropped over that facility. And most experts have estimated that it would take multiple bombing runs to actually get to the depth required to destroy that facility in Fordo. And it appears that the United States has now carried out that strike. The question, as you said, how many runs did it take? Were they able to destroy it completely? You know, we don't know that yet. We don't have that battle damage assessment that they need to
point out the facility, according to the
Did you see this? Did you see this already, JP?
I have not, but I laugh at the fact that what they're basically trying to get to is that we know, like I was just talking about, that he's trying to be able to destroy those sites based on the fact that he doesn't want them to be able to put anything into space. So that'll be something that if you want to, I guess, dive deeper into this and then cover this a little bit more in depth, look back at what sanctions that U.S. put on Iran back in 2019. It was September of 2019.
I'm not doing the homework. We gonna get to Donald Trump is coming on at 10 o'clock tonight, y'all. And that's what we kind of waiting for, trying to figure out what's going on at this point up until then. And then see what he has
to do is come in and just say the same crap, man.
He probably will. This is successful. We did a great thing. The U.S. is wonderful. We'll see what happens tomorrow and the next day.
Right. My fellow Americans, tonight we conducted a mission within Iran that dropped
I can hear it now.
Bombs within the Irani mountains.
Yeah.
You're like the Lord.
Shout out to Chris Creative. Thank you, honey. Said Messi. Iran's leaders have been saying for the last few years that they could destroy Israel in 6 minutes. They could delete all the J's at once. Got to be careful around here. Right. I don't know, y'all. I got to be honest with you. I'm not well versed and familiar with this at all. That's why JP is here. I'm just saying.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm so much the expert on this, but I read so many books when it comes to contracting and I guess you could say defense, that I kind of understand the dynamics of what's going on, because if you look up two companies, and that's just BlackRock and Palantir, you know, like we were talking about earlier, you were talking about Tyler being a billionaire. Most of the time, and I'm just going to be frank, most of the billionaires in the world pretty much are butt plugs if they're not connected family wise.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, because I mean, you'll look, well, because I mean, you look at Palantir, which is pretty much the top defense contractor now with the American.
Spell that. Spell that.
Palantir.
Hold
on.
I got BlackRock. I never heard of Palantir. Oh, Palantir Technologies. Is it a software company? All right, while he's looking that up, thank you, Ira, for another 10. He said, Putin said Russia has scientists helping Iran enrich uranium. Most folks don't know southern Russia is only 53 miles from Alaska. Oh, really? No, I didn't know that. Russia got missiles that can get there in 12 minutes. No, sir, I did not know that.
This is amazing.
Y'all, I don't be knowing where the geography stuff is. Y'all already know. Wow. All right, hopefully he'll come right back. There we go. You good? You good?
Sorry about that. I had issues right here with my mic. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I think I got is it Palantir Technologies?
Yep.
Okay, I got that one.
If you'll look at it, Peter Thiel is the owner of it, and then it's ran by Alex Karp. Peter Thiel is a butt plug. He has a husband, and he pretty much helped with starting up PayPal. With him and Elon were kind of behind the scenes of PayPal, to where PayPal basically is coming to fruition. But that's how he kind of made his millions, was arms deals and through PayPal.
Yeah, his CEO is out. Hold on. The CEO is Alex Karp, founder Peter Thiel. I feel like I've seen that name before.
Right. Anything that you can think of that it comes to technology and arms deals and so forth, for the last 5 to 7 years, it's pretty much involved a lot of Peter Thiel dealings. He'll have some connection to it. So what you're seeing with Palantir right now is that with Alex Karp, pretty much he's looking to ensure that the U.S. has total dominance in surveillance, to where basically they'll have the wherewithal to make sure that no matter what, they have all total surveillance over everything and every person around the nation, and they can just cut them off or kill them within impunity.
This sounds like a fucking movie.
Absolutely.
This sounds like a fucking movie. Yep. I feel like I've heard that Thiel name before. Did you see what Ira said? Russia is 12 minutes from Alaska. Did you know that? I didn't know that.
No, I did not either.
Southern Russia is only 53 miles from Alaska. Russia got missiles that can get there in 12 minutes.
Yeah, if you look at it from the very tip of it and the way that the circumvision is of the world, then you can literally see Russia from the tip of where Alaska is.
I did not know.
Yeah.
Shout out to Reaper for 5 memberships. I appreciate you, hun. Please make sure that you all thank Death the Reaper if you did get a membership today. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button for me. We're talking to JP Demonetized Child. I don't know what his name is today. Broke man, broke woman, child. It could be anything.
All my hoes are demonetized.
All my hoes are demonetized. Okay, so he's the expert speaking on the dropping of the bombs today on Iran. And Trump says, it's all good. You don't know. And he's going to talk at 10 o'clock. So we got 18 minutes to see what he has to say, which, again, we believe is going to be the same crap that he just wrote on Truth Social.
What you'll find out, though, is you'll have a lot of material if you just want to start going down rabbit holes of looking up stuff when it comes to all of this. You'll see some legions are, I guess you could say, ties to Palantir. So within the next year or two, if you start seeing their name come up, or you start seeing, you know, Alex Karp doing more and more press and everything, you'll understand why.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Live from New York. Thank you, honey. Said get rid of Ayatollah and Iran might become another Dubai. That's interesting. What do you think?
Possibly, but do you realize, I mean, how far of your knowledge goes into what you know about the Gaza Strip and how they did the Palestinians in the Gaza Strip?
I don't know nothing about none of that. I ain't even gonna lie.
Okay. I guess you could say what Israel is always in America's pockets for is because Israel is kind of the test country for how the United States wants to treat their citizens. If you're of the lighter shade of brown, if you know what I mean. So what happens is that what you are seeing a lot what went on in the Gaza Strip is that they killed off all of the darker skinned men, or the men that were physically more dominant compared to the Israelis, and they basically made laws and treaties to say that these people could never fight back against an Israeli or so forth. And basically all you have in the Gaza Strip is a lot of women and children that are on their own. What they did with it is that they made a strip that was pretty much a surveillance state for all of these Palestinians. And they were able to sit and just give them nothing but iPhones, and also have surveillance cameras and equipment within these people's houses and on the streets, to where if they spoke or even tried to fight against the Israeli government, they were not only persecuted, but they were killed as well. So as a result, this is what you kind of seeing that the United States wants to do with their citizens here, especially us of darker deal, to where, as you can see, this is why you starting to see all of this ramping up as far as talking about illegals and how you could ship people over to, you know, El Salvador into their prisons and then never to be heard from again and so forth, is because they want to be able to have control and surveillance over how people move in this world.
I've been hearing that for a while though.
Yep. And this is where all of this comes from.
All right. So Fox is going to come on at 10 o'clock. Just FYI, that's what I was looking for. For when he goes live.
Okay.
But this is Fox from about an hour ago. Let me play what they said here.
Okay.
This is a Fox News alert. News from the President of the United States that there has been an attack inside Iran. Just moments ago, President Donald Trump putting out on Truth Social, we have completed our very successful attack on 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside of Iran airspace. Again, this from President Donald Trump. A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site, Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There is not another military in the world that could have done this. Now is the time for peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Again, that's just seconds ago from President Donald Trump on Truth Social, suggesting that those B-2 bombers that perhaps were on the way may have been behind this. We'll get more details on these 3 sites that the president said has been attacked inside Iran. This comes after days of negotiations to try to get Iran to the negotiating table. the president of the United States saying it would have to be unconditional surrender, saying enrichment would have to stop. We heard from negotiations in Europe that that was not being accepted by the Iranians, that they would not stop enriching uranium. There was a thought that this could go as long as 2 weeks. As the president said, he would decide within 2 weeks. However, 2 days is within 2 weeks. And now word from President Donald Trump that these attacks have happened. Again, interesting that 3 sites have been struck by U.S. bombers. And this, again, we'll get more information about the exact targets and what bombs were used. We expect that the GBU-57, the bunker buster, the massive penetrator bomb, may have been one of those used. Fordo is a nuclear facility inside Iran that is roughly a half-mile deep underneath a rock mountain-like facility that has been said to be the site of a lot of the enrichment capability. Esfahan, believed to be a storage facility for enriched uranium, and Natanz, another part of the nuclear facilities. They have several throughout Iran. It has been long described as a very difficult and tedious effort to go after these nuclear sites, but the U.S., for the first time, launching an attack inside Iran. Again, the president of the United States saying all of the planes are out of Iranian airspace. The bombings do continue by the Israelis inside Iran as this back and forth volley between Israel and Iran has continued for some 2 weeks. We expect to hear more about this operation, not only from the Pentagon, but perhaps from the White House, although the White House this evening, has called a lid, as far as meaning no one will talk after that. That may be changing now. Obviously, we have this Truth Social post from President Donald Trump.
Oh, anyway.
You know what I find funny is that, remember yesterday his tune was, I'm not going to talk about this or plan to do anything for the next 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks, yeah. And maybe he
then
meant
all of a sudden it's like, bam.
Maybe he meant, he's old. He misspoke. He meant 2 days.
Yeah, he is old.
I don't know. Yo, this is not what I was expecting to hear tonight. I thought he was saying 2 weeks because he was just like, oh, they'll figure it out. So he wasn't trying to deal with it. Because honestly, I just thought it was a bunch of get everybody all hyped up like they usually do. And then
it's definitely political theater, though. I can tell you that it's political theater at its finest. So,
well, that makes sense. Chris said, "You never tell the enemy what you're going to do." That makes sense.
See what I mean? Now, Chris, you're cooking with fish grease, man. I mean, I'm not gonna go on TV and say, man, that this is the whole dynamic of what I'm planning on doing and so forth. I mean, it's just a little too much of it. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, you don't need to tell the American public all the strategic moves you're about to make when it comes to these people. It's a little too wild to me.
Right. No, I don't disagree with you. Let me go over here. This is what we're waiting for. This one starts. It's 10 minutes. 10 minutes when he's gonna come on, see what the hell it is he got to say. Let me see what else. Because you said CNN. Obviously, we know CNN got something to say. Hold on.
Yeah, Anderson been on live for the longest, so I'm not sure. Like,
I can never find CNN for some reason. Maybe they're blocked from me or something.
Yeah, he's not. But I don't think this is like a prelude or a deal of how World War III is going to start. I mean, this is kind of a slow walk of just trying to get everybody amped up to what could be.
A slow walk to, yeah. I can never find CNN. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, I'm missing up with Anderson, man. I mean, I just find it funny that when you're sitting and seeing this war coverage, they have quote unquote rules of engagement, and you're talking to a veteran. I was in the Navy.
Mm-hmm.
How they have rules of engagement, yet the dynamics of it is to where, you know, press people pretty much, you know, they can't be quote unquote touched, and yet they're right here in the middle of war zones covering this information, and you like, why would you want to be in the middle of all this?
Mm-hmm.
You know? Did you see the lady? I'm sorry to cut you off. Did you see the lady that was in Iran. She was the Iran reporter, and basically the studio got bombed by a missile, and basically she ran off the screen and so forth during a live deal. Yeah, I'll send that to you.
Was this today?
It was Thursday.
Oh no! Wow. All right. Let's hear what Rachel got to say. This was 9 minutes ago. This was 10 minutes ago from Rachel. We are now in war with Iran.
Ongoing special breaking news coverage. I'm Rachel Maddow. If you're just tuning in, we are following the breaking news that U.S. bombers carried out strikes today at 3 Iranian nuclear sites. One at Natanz, a site that had previously been hit by Israel. Israel and Iran have been trading strikes since Israel's surprise attack last Friday. Israel has already attacked the site at Natanz. Now the United States has done so as well. Another nuclear site near Isfahan in Iran, and also, according to the president, the facility called Fordo, which is a deeply buried facility. And that's important tactically because the U.S. military is believed to have essentially unique targeting capacity to hit a site like that. It is a deep underground facility. The United States has essentially developed weapons specifically to target facilities like that one. And so these B-2 bombers that have reportedly carried out these strikes tonight in Iran are aircraft with capacity that no other military in the world really has. Now, common wisdom about this president, about the political movement that he leads, is that he is supposedly isolationist, that he is supposedly anti-war. That has never been exactly right. That's always been kind of a lazy common wisdom. In less than 6 months back in office, he has threatened military action against Panama, against Canada, against Denmark in order to seize Greenland. He has bombed Yemen over and over and over again, and now he appears to have entered the United States military into a war in Iran, something that neoconservatives have thrilled to for, I guess, 2 generations now. A lot of commentary around the Trump phenomenon and Trump's politics would suggest that he has risen in opposition to the neoconservatives who have advocated for this type of war since essentially the Iranian Revolution in 1979. But since 1979, the U.S. military has not engaged directly with Iran. But Donald Trump has done so tonight. Donald Trump has ordered U.S. military bombing raids on Iran. We are now in war with Iran. President Trump announced the strikes on his niche social media platform, which is called Truth Social. He said in that post, quote, "We have completed our very successful attack on the 3 nuclear sites in Iran, including Fordo, Natanz, and Esfahan. All planes are now outside Iran airspace. A full payload of," inexplicable all capital letters, "bombs." It's not an acronym. He's just spelling it in all capital letters. "A full payload of bombs was dropped on the primary site for Fordo. All planes are safely on their way home. Congratulations to our great American warriors. There's not another military in the capital world that could have done this." And then he says in all capital letters, "Now is the time for peace!" Exclamation point. "Thank you for your attention to this matter." President, in his quirky spelling and delivery, delivering the most sober possible message to the American people who have been.
We probably shouldn't be hysterical. What do you think about Rachel's assessment?
Number one, why does Rachel Maddow, Chris Hayes, and Joe Scarborough all look like the same person? You know, like you like, damn, does MSNBC put the same people on TV? You know?
Yeah, she's looking rough right here. And that's crazy. That's a crazy pause. My bad, y'all. Anyway.
No, it's. I mean, to me, it's just when they do rhetoric, especially like if you just watch MSNBC long enough, it's just really just Trump hatred.
Yeah, so for sure.
You kind of dismiss whatever opinions that they have because you can't really take them serious. So you know, Rachel's assessment of it is just the fact that, you know, she wants to look at it from a doom and gloom standpoint. You know, let's just go ahead and just see that we're in World War III, and you know it's all because of Trump.
And anything to make him look bad, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
So as Israel attacked Iran first, and then Iran responded, the U.S. should be peacemakers and stay neutral. Well, that would make sense, right? But what JP said and what I heard earlier is it's in their best interest to make more money to get involved, because then they can get involved to rebuild in its simplest forms. I already had heard that earlier today, which is crazy.
It's all for real estate and to be able to make money.
Yes, you know? yes. That was the bottom line. Honestly, that was the bottom line.
Yep.
Live from New York, thank you. He said, I say I'm Canadian when I travel. What's that mean? What's that gonna get you? What does that mean? I don't understand what that means. Hiram says, guess I gotta cancel my trip to visit the Holy Land. Child, you know daggone well you wasn't going over there. Maybe not, you never know.
Well, he live in Chirac, so I mean it can't be any worse than that.
Oh, Hiram lives in Chicago?
As far as I know.
All right, let me give it a few more minutes, then I'll go back to waiting for where Trump is coming.
Largely opposed to and afraid of a potential U.S. war with Iran, again, for generations. Donald Trump has now started it. We are expecting President Trump to address the nation just about an hour from now, talking about this decision. Well, of course, we'll bring you that live when it happens. Joining us now from Washington, D.C. is NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba. Monica, thanks very much for being with us. I know this is crunch time. What can you tell us about this decision tonight and what we know about the potential scope of this military engagement?
Yeah, Rachel, good to be with you. Look, this is an incredibly consequential decision of a massive scale for any president, but of course, in particular for this one who had been touting the fact that he was going to maybe give Iran as much as 2 weeks to see if a diplomatic solution could be possible. We knew that there were European leaders huddling with Iranian officials in Geneva as recently as yesterday. And he was even arguing from the tarmac when he was traveling yesterday and on Air Force One that perhaps that was a possibility, but he had been also very clear that it was likely that if he didn't get the terms of a deal that he was potentially pursuing here, that the U.S. military could get more involved. Now, he's going to lay out, I'm told, his rationale to the American people for this when he does speak at 10 p.m. And he is going to, of course, talk about what this means in this moment. I'm told by a senior White House official that as of right now, he and the country does not and should not expect additional strikes. Again, at this moment, this has obviously been unfolding in real time, can change incredibly quickly, but that is the posture as of, again, this second. And we know that the president also just a couple of hours ago had a conversation with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel. We know that this was a U.S. military operation that was heavily coordinated with Israel. They obviously were briefed on every step of the way. They knew this was happening. It was done, again, in a highly coordinated fashion. And that's not surprising. The president has been in touch with the prime minister pretty much every day over this last week or so when it comes to this conflict. And I can also tell you, Rachel, that he was traveling back from his property in Bedminster, New Jersey. He returned to Washington around 5:30 p.m. this evening, and he went to the Situation Room where he monitored much of this in real time, again, with some of his top national security advisors, and where we know that this is something that will be planned. It's going to continue to take place throughout the evening. We know that tomorrow he has another National Security Council meeting. And to the point that you started this show with about this question of the U.S. effectively being at war with Iran right now, this is a president that's going to need to come out and tell the American people why he made that decision, why this posture was one he felt was inevitable. And you're already seeing a lot of lawmakers and a bipartisan effort, we should point out, raising questions about this and using this kind of military authority without that congressional approval. We know there had been a resolution that had been in the works over the last couple of days to see if that could be put up for a vote next week that was anticipating this potentially. But again, this is President Trump's maybe perhaps most consequential decision of this second term. Of course, there were many in the first term, but this is also a person who we need to remind everybody as a candidate repeatedly campaigned on and against ending all foreign wars and not pushing the U.S. further into these kinds of military entanglements overseas. So I think there's a lot of questions tonight about his approach to all of this. But I can also tell you, Rachel, just from talking to my White House sources a short time ago, they're very pleased with the fact that this was able to be carried out covertly, that it didn't appear that anything leaked. And that they were able to do this and keep U.S. military and U.S. personnel who were involved as safe as possible throughout the evening for now, Rachel.
All right, it's
Monica.
10. It's 10.
Yeah, I'm here. That's where I was going. Waiting for them to come on. But yeah, that girl had a lot more information. Rachel looked like she's sick.
She is.
So all we can do is just wait. I'm trying to see if anybody else is on. Y'all hit the like button for me if you haven't. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I think I'm finna flip to ABC News now to see if they're on. I believe they are.
MSNBC is on standby. Where did you say you were going?
I'm finna check ABC.
Oh. Houston. Yeah, everybody's on standby. Waiting. I went to Houston. Uh-oh.
amazing.
Kevin says Pelosi stock options must be going crazy. You already know. Thank you so much, hon. Shout out to y'all for hanging in there. We'll see what he got to say.
Look, I literally didn't even talk about Nancy this stream. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it.
This is, here he comes. Here we go. Whew, Lord.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin-Kane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
No questions.
No. Wow.
They should have played God Bless America.
He said, I want to thank God, as if he just, oh my God.
Oh, that's not your boy.
Wow. It's just like that's his homeboy, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds a little crazy for sure.
Oh man, this dude said, and last of all, I want to thank God. What? Oh man, this dude can make a speech like nobody else. I swear to God.
A little bit.
It is so comedic, man. What the hell was that?
I don't know.
Oh
Maybe
wow.
it was something that it was on the teleprompter and he didn't know how to deliver it. He not good like me.
No, he's not. It was
Yeah,
god awful, man. Oh wow. But shouts out to the military for completing such a
definitely.
successful, you know, mission.
Yes.
And there's more to come, as he says. It's going to be far greater, far worse.
Maybe not. They said
Woo.
they're en route to Guam.
Well,
What they
that's where their base is, as far as
oh,
when
okay.
they flew over there to execute the mission. So,
Mm. Oh, I wonder if that's a picture of what happened. I guess this is how it works. What's on the screen now?
well, according to what they said we went in for, is because we're the only ones that
The hell is that?
have the missile capability to be able to take out a nuclear site.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
So we're the only ones that have the missile capability to be able to take out a nuclear site. That's why you're seeing that missile that's on the screen. It's a bunker buster, is what they call it. So it's a missile that's tough enough to penetrate through a bunker seal. So,
well, they did say it was deep in the whatever.
yeah, it was deep in the mountains, because that's a lot of times where a lot of these countries will hide weaponry and have all kinds of supplies and so forth, as they hide them through the hills. You'll see that it's popular in northern Europe, like a lot of the mountains and hills that's in like the northern European countries, such as like Sweden, Finland, and all those places. You'll see a lot of times their mountains and their hills are strictly for any type of weaponry and arms and things that they need to protect themselves. Even when they need to get their citizens to safety, they have underground bunkers and things to be able to protect them against that. So if they had a nuclear war, they can hide within those hills and so forth. So that's what Afghanistan was trying to do originally, when they were trying to go in and get bin Laden, is because they were doing pretty much the same things. It was kind of a test for all of that.
That's what I was thinking about. That's kind of like where bin Laden was. Yeah.
Yep. It's easy for them to hide within those hills and so forth to be able to get it. So this is part of why you have the U.S. having those missiles that they just displayed, the bunker busters, is in case that the military needs to go into these, bunkers and so forth to be able to draw out all of their men. That's the weapon that it'll take to be able to get them to, free up the compartment or the door to be able to get into those bunkers.
Amazing.
Yep.
Thank you, Ira. Ira says Russia produces more warheads in 3 months than NATO and the U.S. does combined in 1 year. Who is to say Putin hasn't just given Iran some nukes? This was a cuck move.
Yeah, no, Ira. I agree with you majority of what you just said. But I don't so much look at it as a cut move. I look at it as is that, again, this is just for them to be able to, quote unquote, acquire more real estate, because they're going to destroy the country, man. It's evident. They wouldn't have made a move this quick and this brass if they weren't thinking about doing so.
Oh, they're saying that Tulsi Gabbard was wrong.
Somebody has to be the scapegoat.
I was gonna say, just toss the woman under the bus, child, real quick. Wow.
Yeah, you don't think that was the play from the beginning? You have to understand that Chelsea switched parties, so they had to test out her loyalty in some way, shape, or form. So when she switched parties and she was testifying under oath that was the case, that they did not have any nuclear capability, that was the setup that was the play from the beginning. See where her loyalty lied.
Well, I think they look like idiots. It's the person you put in, and she says what it is, and then you don't trust. She was wrong. She doesn't know what she's talking about. That looks crazy. That sounds crazy to me.
No, but I mean, again, it was a test of her loyalty. You got to think about it. A lot of what the Democrats do is that they fund a lot of that shenanigans that goes on in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, a lot of people don't even remember when Obama sent $400 million over to Iran, when he just sent a cargo plane and then just offloaded a bunch of cash and said, "Here you go." That's what that was for. Yep. So again, they had to test out her loyalty between the parties to see where she was going to fall into. Was she going to protect the Democrats as far as how they were able to sit and fund all of the stuff that Iran has right now, or is she going to be on the side of where the Republican agenda is going to be, and that's to destroy Iran?
Well, I guess we'll hear from her maybe in the next day or two.
No, you're not gonna. She's gonna hide out, and they're gonna basically draw her out anyway. She's pretty much gonna end up losing the position because everybody that screws with Trump ends up getting canned anyway. They don't stay long. No, I mean, it was a setup from the beginning. I mean, you got to think about it. Elon was the first fall guy, and it's just going to be all the rest of them is that they're going to just, fall one by one like dominoes. There's no real loyalty in the game. Everything that everybody does in the government is to be able to test each other's loyalty. And whoever has the supreme power and wherever the power lies, this is where they do. Where can you carry out my agenda, the ultimate agenda? Where is it going? Where does your loyalty lie within it? That's why when I was talking to you earlier about when it came to Reagan and him making the deals with Gorbachev, when they didn't arrive at the first deal that they were trying to get when they were over in I think it was Iceland that they had a meeting. Immediately that next week, you saw the Iron Lady come over to the United States. Margaret Thatcher met with President Reagan at the time, and she was pissed because they weren't able to come to a deal. You know who owns the United States? That's the United Kingdom. So because they own us, man, they're the ones that's really calling shots behind the scenes.
Well, you telling me a lot more than I ain't know none of it. I didn't know none of it, but
just
I was
giving you a basic history lesson on this stuff.
No, I hear you. It goes along with some of the things I've been just hearing bits and pieces, but I don't talk about things that I don't know. But I'm learning slowly but surely.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times we always think and we paint the picture that this world is just a full patriarchal rule and there's men just ruling everything like that. But if you really look behind the scenes on how this really goes, I mean, it's a game of chess. And what's the most powerful move on the board in chess?
The king.
The queen.
Oh, is it?
She can move anywhere on the board.
Yeah, I don't play chess either.
Yep.
Okay.
So
one of these days.
And think about it. What's the the monarch rule in Great Britain?
The Queen.
Yeah.
Now that I know.
Right. So think about that.
I was just talking about the Queen recently. Now that you mentioned that.
Right.
Shout out to you for bringing it up. Shout out to Trent. Thank you so much for your support.
Yep.
So what else?
Game.
Say again.
I said it's a wild game because again, remember I told you even about Pelosi when Taiwan got into it.
Oh no, you didn't want to go into her. Go ahead.
Well, I laugh at Nancy because it's like you got to think about it. How long was she like pretty much just Speaker of the House, and then you saw all kinds of stuff that she pulled as far as strings behind the scenes. Even this last campaign, all of a sudden her and Joe get into it, and then they basically decide as a party, quote unquote, that they were going to go with Cam.
Get rid of him.
Yeah, you think that was a play by Obama or any of the higher ups? Nah, that was pretty much Pelosi's play.
That's what I heard.
Yeah, so she was like, okay, we're gonna go with Cam because she knew Joe wasn't in the spirit or the position to be able to win that election. So her whole thing was that was a way for her to be able to continue her agenda like she needs to. I mean, why you think they had an attack on her husband where they just all of a sudden go to her house and then they sit and try to attack her husband like that? It's because a lot of people understand how evil she is behind the scenes.
Oh my God, you think that has something to? Oh my God, that scandal sounding, child.
It is. I mean, you got to think about it. I mean, again, when I told you earlier, when Nancy got on the plane to go over there to Taiwan, she went to Taipei, and then a day later, man, all of a sudden this stuff just ceases. Because you know why? She gave Taiwan an arms deal.
Nancy,
look it up. Yeah,
child,
Nancy was
stop
able
giving
to
me
persuade.
homework.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm just saying. I mean, she was able to sit and strike a deal to where she allowed Congress to be able to sit and decide that they were going to pass a bill to be able to fund Taiwan as far as being able to give them arms.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, this is why all of that stuff ceases, because the Chinese know that no matter how much they want to lead in technology within the world, they can't beat the U.S. as far as arms.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is why they play nice, because you got to think about it. If China was dominant in every area, why would they sit and play nice with us? They have 3 times the population we do. They could wipe us out if they chose, if that was the case. But they know better because of the fact that they look at the dynamics of how our arms are here. This is the only reason we dominate the world like we do, is because of the fact that we have arms.
Okay.
Yep. You think the dollar is just going to keep being the dollar, man, if it wasn't for the fact that the U.S. just can take anybody out when they choose? Or it's just everybody just likes us and just decides that this is just going to be the currency that we go with? Nah, it's not like that.
Everybody just likes us.
Yeah, everybody just likes us, man, and they just decide, yeah, you know what, man, we like dollars, so we'll take dollars.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
They made to take them.
All right.
We some bullies.
Oh, it looks like it today, for sure.
Yep.
So what's next? What you think is next? What's about to happen next?
I mean, like I said, they're going to destroy Iran now. I mean, it's evident. There's no reason for them not to be able to go ahead and go forth with it. You just destroyed 3 of their nuclear sites, so now you got to go in and finish the job so you can be able to control all of those resources that they have there. You pop the top off those nuclear sites because you want all their control of the uranium. We want to cut everybody out that has the ability to be able to dominate in the nuclear game.
So they're talking BRICS, which I've heard about, of course. Shit, I forgot what I was going to ask you. They were saying $65. They were saying $65 earlier. Oh my God. For the now, like I didn't see that already. For the gas. So you think gas is going to go up now again?
Absolutely, because again, this is always a ploy that they have when it comes to any type of seizure of energy. So this is what you'll see the United States do, is they'll sit there and play this game of political theater where they'll go, oh, since we're at war, you know, we got to be able to spend money on defense. And when we're spending money on defense, now this is going to drive up costs as far as oil, when really that was their play from the beginning, to make more money.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
as long as they can squeeze people, that's all they care about.
Okay. Well, I guess we just wait to see what's next.
Oh yes, it's going to be fascinating from the standpoint of you're going to watch so many people get super rich that really people not looking at or watching. You know, because let's face it, like a Larry Fink and people like that, a lot of people don't look at these guys and really understand that they're evil and they're crooked and they're doing things behind the scenes to ensure that they're making the money that they make. They can care less about me and you because they want to get further and further and further away from the access that we have to be able to be around people like them. And what easy way to do that than scaring people, wiping them out, man, having them fear mongering through war and all of these things to keep them distracted.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Look, True Omega says Peter Thiel is making heavy bank.
Yeah, absolutely. Making heavy bank.
Even before this though.
I mean, you got to think about it. I want you to watch in the next couple of months too, and I'll send you a reminder with that. Now you see that they've been hammering home cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at the dynamic of what's going on, like with Ripple, for example, the adoption of Ripple into the monetary system now has been to where it's going to explode into so many avenues, such as from defense funds to
Mm-hmm.
just how they operate when it comes to AI and technology.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at that scope, these people are going to be able to make endless amounts of money, while me and you and the rest of the poor saps of the world aren't going to be able to touch them when it comes to being able to have access to capital.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be so far in the wage gap and everything. It's going to be so wide coming up to where none of us are going to be able to compete.
Yeah, shout out to Doom and Gloom. Okay.
Ah.
But I guess that's what people have been saying thus far any daggone way.
Yeah, it's not going to be a great outlook as far as when we look at the wealth gap in this country. It's going to be ignorant.
Wow.
Yep. So I suggest to all of you, man, you better get you some friends high up, man. You know, play real nice with them.
I'm gonna get Tom Homan.
Man, Tom ain't gonna make it long. He gonna be the scapegoat, man. Everybody that's in this administration right now is probably gonna end up deleted or hold somewhere, man, to where they're
Allegedly.
I'm just telling you.
Allegedly.
It's not gonna be fun.
Tom was home retired when Trump called him.
Right, and you see how much of a chicken neck he has now and how much sleep he looks like he's lost because he knows that it's the end for him. He's in there to do the bid to be able to make sure that once all of the stuff that they need him to do is done, then he's good.
We better make friends with Tyler Perry.
I'm good on Tyler, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll let him stay with his butt plug club, man. You know what I'm saying? I know a little circle of people that I want to be able to make sure I maintain good relationships with and go from there. But I mean, hell, I don't know if my clock's going to be called. You know what I'm saying? Who knows?
Yeah.
I am black in this country.
That is true. And you're a man. You know, both of those things don't mean.
He knows too much. Kill him now.
Allegedly, okay? Allegedly, please.
Allegedly.
All right.
I'll get the gear. Shouts out to alleged merch.
Anything else? Because we about done because ain't nothing else until maybe tomorrow or in the week.
Nah, I mean, it's pretty simple stuff, man. I mean, you know, nothing I could really want to dive into because if I do, they're going to take your stream down and then they're going to be looking for me.
Yeah, please. We're not doing that today. Okay. Thank you, though. I appreciate
we can't share too much.
Well, listen, a lot of y'all brought it together. I know more now than I did before we started. So that's all good as well. But, you know, I'll reach out to you or you let me know something important that we could just, you know, stream together and discuss it and get through it.
So I'm becoming your political correspondent. That's fun.
Yes.
Hell
I appreciate
I'm gonna change my name to not political demonetized.
Oh my God, you and these damn name changes is driving me nuts. I cannot. And stop giving me homework.
Why? I mean,
because
this is for you to become a better streamer and better versed when it comes to world events. That's it. You never run out of content.
Oh no, that is true. That's you know, it is better than the effery sometimes too. To hear something different.
Because I mean, they always here for the effery, man. And
definitely,
make my head hurt.
You already know. But as soon as I saw this, I'm like, what the? And I got right up.
Man, that make my head hurt some days. I'll be like, let me get off this junk, man. Especially that junk you started off showing today. I said, let me get off this stream, man.
Oh, with Juicy and his marriage.
Yeah, that was enough for me.
His marriage proposal. That was the good news. I was giving y'all good news. See, y'all.
I don't know what the hell you call that good news for. That was god awful.
It's a marriage in the community. I'm in the middle of making some videos now, so
put a 1 in the chat if you did not want to see that story.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
That
Put
was
1 in the chat if you didn't want to see that story. Put a 2
that
if you
was
did.
that was good news. That was positivity. That was positivity, child.
If that's what you want to call it.
Yes, yes. Oh no, Reaper.
You see Reaper.
Well, you knew that's what he would say, period. All right,
Yep.
y'all. That's it. We did an hour and 10 just to go over that to see what was going on. And oh no, A-Team, you too. See, I be trying to give y'all positivity. Y'all still don't even like it. I don't know what to do with y'all. But thank y'all for coming back. What is this time? Yeah, time number 2 today. Hopefully nothing else happens. I'm going to bed. I ain't got time. I'm going to bed. I ain't got time. Yes, hit the like button for me if you haven't. Subscribe if you are new. Thank you so much, JP, for coming on and letting me.
Yeah, y'all get y'all ass out of here. Go do something for a Saturday night.
Shit, it's 10:30 in the East Coast. I'm going to bed, or at least get in the bed anyway. All right, shout out to y'all. Whatever you do, have fun. Be safe. We'll be on tomorrow again, 10 a.m. EST. Be there or be square. Appreciate y'all. I see you all in the next